In this video I'm going to be talking about double running and why I use it in my marathon training and how it's helped me, I think, bring my times down. What is up everybody and welcome to Fordy Runs. Now my name is Chris Ford and if you didn't know, I'm a qualified athletics and running coach based here in the UK, and when I'm not making YouTube videos I'm coaching clients. So hopefully the information I give you today you can feel confident that it's coming with some sort of qualified background knowledge. Now I don't know whether that made any sense, but anyway my point is that I'm not just some dude on YouTube. Okay, right, so we're going to be talking about double runs today because it's a topic that keeps coming up in our live stream on a Friday. We do a podcast, it's called The Long Run Show. We do a show on a Monday and a Friday. They're both live. The one on Monday is at 8 o'clock, the one on Friday is at 7 o'clock. It's an award-winning podcast, so make sure you check it out. Now on that podcast it keeps coming up about the double running because I do a lot of it. So in this video, like I said, I want to talk to you about it, how I do it, why I do it and the benefits I get. Okay, so I do double running to increase my endurance, which ultimately increases my speed, but it doesn't necessarily work for all runners. But I have found that it works for me. So by doing these double runs, increasing my endurance, I have found that it does fatigue me, so you've got to be very careful, and I'll come on to the sort of cons of it in a second. But I have found that doing that has improved my endurance and has effectively made me faster. Now, a caveat to all this, and I want to put it at the front because it's very, very important, because I don't want you all to go out and rush out and start doing double running, right? There are big risks to this. There's big overtraining, overuse risks to this. I think you need to have a baseline fitness level to be able to do this. This is not something I'd recommend to any new runner, and I would never get any of my runners who are just firstly coming to me to do this. Your increase of injury likelihood goes up, by the way, because your recovery period probably drops. And like I said, and I feel as well, you are more fatigued, okay? So there's some real big downside to doing this, and I want to put it at the front end of the video to make sure you're 100% aware of that before I carry on talking about how I use double running and as I said, go into that sort of benefit side that I found. Okay, so I wanted my marathon times to come down, and I researched into ways in which I could improve my endurance. I was finding at the end of the marathon that I was fatiguing quite easily, and I think a lot of that was down to my endurance. So I was already working off a baseline of fitness. I was, you know, running a reasonable amount of miles a week. I'm not a high mileage runner. I prefer to do sort of targeted runs. So I'm about 40 miles on average, I would say, with peak mileage about 55 marathon training, but it can go down to about 30, 25 as well. But that's where I'm at in terms of my mileage. But yeah, I just found at the end of the races I was sort of suffering with fatigue. So I wanted to find something that would help my endurance through marathon training, and one of the things that I researched was double running. So I put into my week the double runs. Now, again, I'm not recommending this, okay? This is only what I do and how I go about it. So typically for me, I do 2 double runs a week. Now that is usually on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. So on a Tuesday, I'll go out and typically run 4 miles to 6 miles in the day. Now it will be very much dependent on what I'm doing in the evening, and I'll come on to that in a second, on what I'll do in the day. So as an example, if I've got a high effort session, if I've got like a speed session in the evening, that 4 to 6 miles in the day will be very easy. And then the evening session will be that hard session with a very good warm up and cool down, but I'll be able to sort of attack that. But I will be slightly fatigued, which is good because I feel like I'm improving my endurance by running sort of in a fatigue state. So I'm having to work harder in those speed sessions. Now I will switch that around. Obviously if I'm doing something easy in the evening, I'll do a 4 to 6 mile hard effort in the day. Now I will go out on a Wednesday, and I wouldn't recommend that for many other people, but it's just the way my week works. I would try and have something in the middle between doing the double runs. But on a Wednesday I'll do pretty much the same thing. Now the reason that is because I have a club session again. I'm coaching on a Wednesday evening, so my Wednesday run will be dictated by what I do in the evenings. But typically both days I'm getting sort of 10 to 12 miles on each, which I have found has really helped me. One of the things that I sort of missed when I started working again back up at London was that middle distance run. I really enjoy doing that, and I've just found by doing these double runs I'm getting the mileage, but I'm also, because I'm mixing up the efforts, I'm making sure they're quality runs. I found ultimately that has helped in terms of my endurance and ultimately my speed. And that's what I put this all down to in terms of my times falling. Apart from all the other bits that I've spoken about in other videos, you know, belief and that kind of things, it is, I think, a lot of it down to the double running. Me putting these double runs into my week, I think has been a game changer for me. Now, don't get me wrong, you know, I'm tired, yeah? You are running in a fatigue state. And that's why on a Thursday, I'll just go out and run to feel. I'll just run a nice steady, you know, 27 to 30 minutes, totally to feel. It's almost like a recovery run from those 2 days. On the Monday beforehand, I would have done a goal pace work, and that would be maximum 6 miles. So I'd have had Sunday off as well, don't forget, so I'd have had a complete rest on Sunday, and then I'm working through. So it's like slowly building up, but I'm not overdoing it. Does that make sense? But I'm maxing out what I'm doing. And like I said, that double running, working in that fatigue state, is building endurance, and that's what I think ultimately is helping me. So I'm not recommending you do it, but I wanted to explain how I'm doing it and how it's working for me. So hopefully, if it is something that's interesting to you, please research it, look into it, figure out whether that's something you could do. But like I said, I wouldn't recommend it for new runners. I would recommend it for somebody who has got a really good baseline fitness, a really good baseline level of mileage that they're doing per week. And then you can start adding that in to build on to your mileage. So for example, Ben, I was running with him the other day and we was talking about his mileage. He's training for the Chicago Marathon, and we spoke about the fact of his mileage in terms of cumulative mileage that he's doing, and we was talking about actually adding in 3 miles in the day on a Tuesday and Thursday, because he's running easy or doing a club session in the evening. And it's sort of a cheap win to get some of that mileage in, and he's now going to do it. But he's, you know, he's a 3:42 marathon runner, and he's starting off now doing the double runs because he wants to build that endurance into his training week. So there we go. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me know in the comments if you want to hear more about this, get more detail on it. You can always drop me an email. But yeah, I've just found double running for me has really, really helped. And I think as long as you do it right, it can be a game changer. Right guys, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. Make sure you subscribe before you leave me today, and I will catch you later.